Marvel Studios has been releasing trailers, footage, and posters to get fans excited for what could be one of the biggest superhero movies of all time. We know that Avengers Infinity War will feature over 30 characters from previous films, and there are even more that are rumored to make appearances. The film is supposed to take place around 2 to 3 years after Captain America Civil War. A lot can happen in that amount of time, and I know there are a lot of people wondering what their favorite characters have been up to since the events of Civil War. In this video, I'll be discussing the last known places of all the main characters, as well as what they've been up to. We're gonna go through Phase 3 of Marvel, film by film, and go over where each character is. Now, because we're going over all of Phase 3, there are some spoilers, so here's your spoiler warning.
How about that?
Let's start with Captain America Civil War, the film that kicked off Phase 3 of the MCU, and helped shape a lot of the characters that are going to be in this upcoming film. In the movie, the team of the Avengers was split into two groups as a result of political disagreements, and it ended up causing Team Captain America, including Cap, Bucky, Falcon, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and Scarlet Witch, to become fugitives. After the heroes discovered that Baron Zemo is the one behind everything, Black Panther takes him down, while Iron Man fights Captain America and Bucky. The fight results in Iron Man blowing Bucky's vibranium arm off, and Captain America ultimately winning, but leaving his classic shield behind.
That shield doesn't belong to you. You don't deserve it. My father made that shield.
Eventually, Bucky's name is cleared of all the crimes Zemo forced him to commit, and Captain America takes him to Wakanda so that he can be freed from the Winter Soldier programming that Hydra placed in his head. He agreed to enter a deep cryo sleep until the scientists could come up with a solution for this problem.
I can't trust my own mind. So until they figure out how to get this stuff out of my head, I think going back under is the best thing.
After this, Captain America goes to the Raft prison, which is in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, to free the rest of his team. He expresses how grateful he is to them, and they all go their separate ways. The film does not show where they go, but the Infinity War Prelude comics do. In the comics, Hawkeye says that he is retiring for real this time, and goes to be with his family, but it is rumored that he will have his own character arc in Infinity War. Scarlet Witch asks Cap to drop her off with Vision, and the two continue to explore their romance. Ant-Man is once again a fugitive, but he goes to visit his daughter. While his next movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, isn't supposed to come out until July this year, it is set to take place before Infinity War, but it is also supposed to have events that tie into the upcoming film. In the trailer for his movie, we see Ant-Man being placed under house arrest. Then he, Hank, and Hope, aka the Wasp, go on the run from the FBI.
Thanks to you, we had to run.
I'm very interested to see how things will unfold in their movie this summer. The last member of Team Cap we have to talk about is Falcon. He chooses to stay with Captain America, and they join up with Black Widow to go on secret missions. In the Prelude comic, we see a bearded Steve Rogers without his stars and stripes, or his shield. This has led to people speculating that he will be taking on his identity of the Nomad in the upcoming film, an identity that several characters in the comics have donned. Rogers, Black Widow, and Falcon follow a lead about Chitauri technology to Syria, and they go undercover and destroy it. Black Widow asks Rogers if he would like to call on Iron Man for help, but he refuses because he thinks that Iron Man already has enough on his plate. After this, they continue their mission to ensure the world's safety and go to Lebanon. After losing his fight with Captain America, Iron Man goes back to New York to be with War Machine, who is paralyzed from the waist down after accidentally being shot out of the sky by a distracted Vision. We last see War Machine going through physical therapy, trying to adjust to walking with the device that Tony made for him to fix his paralysis. From here, Tony sets out to mentor Spider-Man, so that he can become a better hero than he ever was.
I just wanted to be like you.
And I wanted you to be better.
The next movie in Phase 3 was Doctor Strange. In this movie, we meet Dr. Stephen Strange, a cocky surgeon who loses everything after he breaks his hands in a car crash. Feeling helpless, he follows a mysterious lead that promised him recovery. Here, Strange studies mystic arts under the Ancient One until villain Caecilius kills her. At the end of the film, Doctor Strange defeats Caecilius and stops him from allowing the Dark Dimension to engulf the Earth. He virtually forces Dormammu, the ruler of this dimension, to leave Earth alone by using the Eye of Agamotto that carried the Time Stone. Dormammu agrees to leave, and he takes Caecilius and his followers instead. Dr. Strange then moves into Sanctum Sanctorum in New York, and he continues his study of the mystic arts. He returned the Eye of Agamotto to its stand because he did not think he was ready to use it, but he is seen wearing it again in his appearance in Thor Ragnarok. The next film to be released was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Team leader Star-Lord meets his father in this movie and discovers that he is half celestial. Initially, Quill is skeptical of him, but they end up bonding until he finds out that his father, Ego the Living Planet, actually killed his mother on purpose, and that he is the plan of recreating the entire universe in his own image.
Grow and spread, covering all that exists until everything is me.
The Guardians eventually stop Ego with the help of Gamora's sister, Nebula, and go on to mourn the loss of Yondu. Gamora attempted to get Nebula to join the Guardians, but she refuses. Nebula then went off by herself to hunt down Thanos and kill him so that nobody else's daughter has to suffer the way that she did.
There are little girls like you across the universe who are in danger. You can stay with us and help them.
I will help them by killing Thanos.
From here, the Guardians set out for new adventures, joined by new member Mantis. In an after-credits scene of Guardians 2, we see that Groot is much older than he was throughout the film. People were hoping that we were getting a teenage version of Groot.
You gotta clean up your room, it's a complete mess.
I am Groot.
But director James Gunn revealed that he was actually in his adolescent years, and that we could call him Tween Groot.
Groot.
I am Groot.
Whoa, language!
Spiderman Homecoming was the fourth film in Phase 3 to be released. This movie shows how Peter Parker balances his life as Spider-Man with high school, extracurricular activities, and his social life. He receives guidance from Tony Stark, who appoints Happy as his handler, but it doesn't go the way that Peter had hoped. He begins to feel ignored.
Yeah, just call me back. It's Peter Parker.
And he eventually tries to warn Happy and Iron Man about the serious threat that Vulture posed, but they don't listen, so he takes matters into his own hands. After successfully beating Vulture, Iron Man offers Peter a place on the Avengers, as well as the Iron Spider suit that he's wearing in the trailer for Infinity War.
Why don't you try that on? And I'll introduce the world, the newest official member of the Avengers, Spider-Man.
He declines this offer because he doesn't think that he's ready. He wants to be on the ground with the regular bad guys, ensuring that his city is safe from everyday crime.
I mean, I'd rather just stay on the ground for a little while. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
In an after-credits scene for the movie, Aunt May catches Peter in his costume.
What the f?
This points clearly to the fact that she knows his identity now. Sometime after Peter declines his offer, Tony complains that he had been distracted by so much and goes back to preparing for what he calls the end of all things. He is concerned to the point where he thinks about calling Captain America, but he refuses, just like Cap refused to call him. He doesn't think that even that would be enough. Next up was Thor Ragnarok. In this movie, Thor struggles with the loss of his father and his identity as the god of thunder, when his hammer, Mjolnir, is destroyed by his sister Hela. He ends up being enslaved on a planet named Sakaar, and is forced to fight in gladiatorial battles where he runs into the Hulk, who happens to be the reigning champion.
Yes! Hey, we know each other. He's a friend from work.
In order to escape the planet and save Asgard from Hela, he assembles his team of the Revengers, which includes himself, the Hulk, and Valkyrie.
But I want to be on the team. Has it got a name?
Yeah, it's called the Revenges.
The Revenges?
In the final fight, he loses an eye and comes to terms with the loss of his hammer, and his true powers as the God of Thunder emerge. He finds out that his new powers were still not enough. Then he realizes the only way to stop Hela is to fulfill the Ragnarok prophecy and have Asgard be destroyed. He carries out the plan after they evacuate the civilians on a ship that Loki brought from Sakaar. They all watched as Asgard exploded, and just when they thought they were safe, they were approached by who we can assume is Thanos in his ship, Sanctuary 2. He is likely there to collect the Tesseract, which holds the Space Stone. It was on the ship with them because Loki had taken it from Odin's vault before escaping. Doctor Strange had a very brief appearance in Thor Ragnarok as well, but the Infinity War Prelude comic reveals that scene was a lot more important than it seemed. He is having a conversation with Wong about potential threats to Earth. And of course, the Infinity Stones come up. Wong recalls Mordo, saying that there will be a reckoning for him using the Time Stone to stop Caecilius, and he tells Strange that Mordo was right. They begin discussing all of the events that the Stones have been involved with, from Red Skull's attempt of world domination, to Ronan the Accuser's attempt to control the Power Stone. They then go over their current locations, but there is one thing that strikes Doctor Strange as concerning. He points out the fact that Loki had been in possession of more than one Infinity Stone, and that made him a person of interest for the impending threat. This is what causes him to trap Loki and called Thor to him to urge them to leave Earth immediately.
So I keep a watch list of individuals and beings from other realms that may be a threat to this world. Your adopted brother Loki is one of those beings.
After he sends the two brothers on their way, he and Wong realize that they know nothing about the Soul Stone, and they should begin preparing for the greatest battle the universe has ever seen. Black Panther is the latest Marvel film, and it showed a whole new side of the MCU. Wakanda and its advanced technology had been kept a secret from all outsiders. They made the world believe that they were a poor, third world country. We see T'Challa dealing with the loss of his father and his new position of King of Wakanda. His estranged cousin, Killmonger, arrives and challenges him for his title as king and the mantle of Black Panther. It initially seems as Killmonger has won, but T'Challa eventually defeats him, but not without taking a lot to think about from the experience. After things in Wakanda cool down, T'Challa decides that it is no longer acceptable for Wakanda to sit and watch while people all over the world suffer when they have the means to help. He decided to reveal the real Wakanda to the world, and this is going to be extremely important for the upcoming fight against Thanos. Going back to the Prelude comics, it takes us back to Wakanda to see a conversation between Shuri and T'Challa about how she planned to remove the programming from Bucky's head, and she eventually does it. She does this by editing his memories in a way that does not mess with who he is, while removing the influence that the trigger words have over his actions. In an after-credit scene of Black Panther, Bucky wakes up from his sleep in Wakanda and is given the name White Wolf by Shuri, and his character is actually listed under this name on the IMDb page for Infinity War. Bucky no longer has the Hydra programming in his head and is free to live his life. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope this helped as sort of a refresher for the MCU leading into Infinity War. I personally cannot wait for this film. You can follow me on social media, links are in the description, and make sure you press that subscribe button for more great content.